Alright guys, sorry it took us this long to resume our classes, but here we are today. Glory to God. Hallelujah. Alright, so today we'll be talking about CSS and basic CSS samples or basic CSS tags that we can use, and how to set up our CSS file, how to start our CSS file, how to link our CSS file with our HTML file, and a whole lot more. You get. So there's a lot in store for us, and guys, if you've not watched the previous videos, please go back and watch it. So yes, CSS. As you can see, we already have our HTML file open there, and there's also one extension I would like everyone to go and download, and the extension is known as the live server preview. So what the live server preview does is it makes your work easier, rather than you going to your website or going to your normal browser, to view your website, view changes and everything that is happening on your website. Within your VS Code, you can just open this, and everything will display fine and very well. Okay, so yeah, I think that's that for that. So let's just dive right in. So first things first, we need to create our what's it called, our CSS file. And how do you create a CSS file? It's just by giving a file a name and ending the file with .css. So you know the way we have our index.html, we can have our index.css. You can give it any name basically, but as the most important thing is for the file to end with .css. Now I could name this file kayode.html, kayode.css, kayode.whatever, or anything.css, anything.html. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really play any huge role. The only thing that matters is the extension behind the name. So your name dot extension file name. So it could be CSS, it could be .css or .html. But for the sake of this program, or for the sake of this video, we'll be using index.css. Index.css. So index.css is going to be our file name. Sorry, I'm moving my camera. So index.css is going to be our file name, and all right. Sorry, pardon me. Okay. Okay, yeah. So now let's create our file. You see this icon here? How many of us can see this icon here? This one here. It is used for creating new files. So we could just click on it and name our file index.css. So when you name your file index.css, all you have to do is press enter, and your file is named and created as index.css. So now the thing we do with CSS file basically is design basically. So what is CSS? I think we should start from there, because now we've created our CSS file, but we don't know what CSS does. So a cascading style sheet. So when you have okay, let me use this place. So when you have a skeleton, if you can see this diagram I'm drawing, a skeleton, this is known as HTML. The skeleton, that's the framework, the structure of your web page is known as HTML. But when you add skin, sorry, my drawing is a little bit wobbly. When you add skin, you add skin, add clothes and everything. What I'm doing basically is what CSS does. CSS adds beauty to our web page, adds beauty to our structure of design or structure of website. Now, if you can look at this page, now, you can see stuff like what's it called? You can see stuff like this CSS, JavaScript, SQL, CSS introduction. You can see colors everywhere. And what is responsible for these colors is CSS. So basically, CSS is known as a cascading style sheet. CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen, paper, or in other media. CSS saves a lot of work. It can control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. Extra style sheets are stored in CSS files. So basically, CSS is just like a separate file that is used for styling. Now, there are two ways you can use your CSS. There's what is known as inline CSS and external CSS, and I will explain. Now, if you decide, oh, you don't want to create another file for your CSS, and you want to style your web page from within your HTML file. Now, what we mean by inline CSS is, let's take for instance this H1. I don't know if you can see my screen, but let's take for instance this H1. Now, I want this H1 to give me a color of red. So I can do something like this. Within the H1 edit tag, style. Within the style, you do color, colon. Then what color do you want to give this HTML tag? We can say red. So now, by the time we refresh our page, we're expecting this line of code to be color red. Do you understand? Now, earlier in this class, I told you guys about this extension known as Live Server Preview. I think everyone needs it. Like I explained earlier, rather than you going to your browser to go and check the changes you've made to your website, you could just from within your VS Code just check those changes, and that's what we're going to do basically. So how do we do this? You go to your search bar, greater than arrow sign, and you will see show live server preview, and click on it. Look at it. So as you can see right here, this file is another file done using VS Code, and this is the H1 tag. This is the style. So this is our style. Where were we? Sorry guys, I think there's something wrong with this. Yeah, so there we go. So this is our style, this style, and it was applied to just one what's it called, just one sorry guys, I'm sorry, bro. Let me just check this. Can you guys see my screen like this? Okay, so it's applied to just the H1 tag, or the H1 tag in our HTML file or in our HTML document. Now we could do the same thing for all what's it called, all our header tags. So let's say style equals to, then color equals green, color equals green. So as soon as you save, it reflects immediately. That's why I say we need this what's it called? This extension in our VS Code. We can do the same thing for H3 as well. So style, color. We can do blue. I want to save it. Ctrl S for those asking that want to ask like how do you save. So this is it. So this is the inline CSS. That's inline. So it is within your HTML tag. But the most commonly and widely used way or most commonly and widely used CSS style of documentation or the most commonly used style for writing CSS files or for writing CSS codes is the external style. So the external style dictates that you create a new file for your CSS. Now look at this. Now this is my CSS file. Let's say I want this line of code, or let's say I want this H4 to be red. I think reordered list. Where is it? Oh yeah. So this is it. Ordered list of things to buy at the store. This line of code, let's say I want it to be red. What's the tag? H4, right? So I go to my CSS file, type H4, and this is the syntax, or this is the way CSS files are written. So you use the property name, curly braces, then you can now type in whatever you want. Let's say, for instance, I want that line of code to have red. But then I save it and nothing is happening. What's going on? So what is happening here is that I have not linked my index.css to index.html. So what this is doing basically in this index.css is, it is just standing on its own. It has no affiliation, it has nothing to connect to, it has no idea what file is supposed to go to and start. You get? It's like you have flesh, but there's no bone connected to the flesh. It's just there. The flesh may look beautiful from afar, from anywhere you are looking at it from, but without the bone, it is just flesh. It's nothing. You get? So now we want to link our CSS file to our HTML file, and the way we link it is by going into our head tag and typing link, then relative. What are we linking? We type in style sheet. href refers to the location of our CSS file. The location of our CSS file. So let's say, where is our CSS file? Our CSS file is in this folder. Our CSS file is in our sample file. No, it's in our old school Africa folder. All right. So now we are going to do this //index.css. So what this does is telling the HTML file that your styling is in your root folder named as index.css. So by the time we save this, you see our ordered list is now red. Unordered list is red. But we wanted to just style only this list, but then we are having multiple reds. Look at this H4. This H4 was black initially, but now it is red. Can you see? Let me take out this style for H1, style for H2, and style for h3. So now let's go to our CSS file. Look at our CSS file. We have h4 red. How many h4s do we have on this page? We have h41. This is h41. We have h42 and we have h43. Do you understand? But in this case, we want to style only this h4. So how do we select just this h4 and style it? And we talked about this thing using classes and IDs. Classes and IDs. So because we want to style only this h4, we can give it a class. Now a class is unique to an HTML element. It is unique to HTML element. Same thing with div. So it is, let's say, a special name for a general class. So you know when you have like multiple students in a class, or when you have like multiple people bearing the same name, and you want to like call one person specifically. So what you can do in such case is by giving it a nickname or giving it a special name. So for instance, you have like 5 people bearing Jack in a class. Now out of the 5 people, one is tall, one is dark, one is fair, one is chubby, and one is short. So when you want to call Jack, you can say tall Jack, and the tall Jack will be the one to answer you. Do you understand? Now we have multiple h4s and we want to call just one h4. So we are going to give it a unique name by giving it class equals to the interpretation sign. What name do we call this class? We can say orders list. Now save this and go to our CSS file. Now we want to style only ordered list. How do you select a class in CSS? You select a class in CSS by using the dot sign. That's full stop, basically full stop. So you use full stop, then the class name, ordered list, curly braces, enter. That's all. That is all you need to do. I think I got this spelling right. Yeah. You also need to be very careful because when it comes to CSS sometimes can be case sensitive. You have to like ensure and make sure that the letters or the spellings are correct. Because if the spellings are not correct and you go and apply a style, you have a problem of applying a style to an element that doesn't exist, and you think something is wrong with your code, or you think you're not good enough, or you think you don't know anything, but meanwhile it is the spelling that is wrong. If you can just change or tweak the spelling, then you are good to go. And that is one reason why we have this extension here, Bito AI. Bito AI. Guys, just go and get it. It will save your life a lot of stress. It will save you a lot of stress. So look at this now. Let's say I like this and I right click and I tell Bito AI, explain this code. Can you see? Bito AI is already explaining the code. Bito AI is already explaining the code. So what is Bito AI saying? Step-by-step explanation. Selector h4. The h4 in the code is a CSS selector that targets all h4 elements in an HTML document. The h4 tag is used to define a heading of level 4 in HTML. So basically, you can do a lot with Bito AI. You understand? You don't have to like go outside your what's it called? Outside your VS Code to go and check for solutions to a problem. Just while you're working, you can like tell the AI to like help you with something. How do you do this? How do you make a line align vertically? How do you align a box horizontally and stuff like that? But that's not our focus for today's class. Our focus for today's class is using CSS. Of course, of this class is using CSS. So we are trying. Oh, sorry. Also, when you are using the display live server here, you should also and always know that you have to open your, like, it is from your HTML file. You can, tell the live server to work. So let's say, for instance, I'm trying to like tell the live server to work from CSS. It's not going to show anything because it needs to work from the HTML file because it is the main file. You understand? The CSS is just like an attachment. The main parent file is the HTML file. If your HTML file is good and your CSS file is linked properly, you're not going to have a problem. Honestly, you're not going to have a problem. So, like I said, ordered list. We want to just turn only this ordered list to red. So for now, we are going to like comment this out. And how do you comment comment in CSS? So the way you comment in CSS is / star and another / and that's all. So anything you want to write will go in between the star. So let's say, for instance, I want to say this is color property of red on h4 tags. This does not affect my code in any way. It is a comment, and like we thought in our HTML too has its own comment, and this is how you comment in CSS. So we'll be learning a lot of things as we go because there's no how would I put it? There's no order of learning. I'm sorry for not putting it together, but subsequently we'll be putting stuff like that together moving forward. But for now, there's nothing like that. So this is H4. So yeah, we want to comment this out. Yeah. Another shortcut for commenting, I'm trying to like make everybody's life easier. You get, I'm a good guy. And I'm helping you by creating shortcuts, giving you tips on what will make your journey to becoming either a front-end developer or a back-end developer or a software engineer easier. And one of the tips is using the Bito AI, installing the Bito AI extension. The second tip is installing the show live server extension as well. Most of those extensions are free and very, very important. You get here is it live server preview. So most of this extension, yeah, this one, go and get it, guys. It will save your life a lot of stress. So now we've commented out our red color, and we just want to style only this h4. All right. So because we've given this h4 a class name, and the class name is ordered list, so whatever we do to ordered list is going to reflect on this h4 here. Do you understand? So yeah, so let's say color, sorry, so let's say color, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. Sorry guys, please hold on. I'm sorry guys, let's see if this is working now. Okay, I don't know what happened there. It was updating. Sorry guys, my VS Code automatically updated. Live server preview. Show live server preview. So while that is loading, so I said we wanted to give this line of code. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because there are so many HTML elements answering h4. So now we are going to call h4 ordered list. That h4 with a class of ordered list. So we are on ordered list now. We can say, sorry, we are on ordered list now. We can say color red. So as you can see, our style applies to only ordered list. Can you see? Yeah, order. This is an h4 element. Like last we checked. How many h4 elements do we have? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. This is h4 This is h4 h4 and then where is h4? Okay, I think we have about 3 h4s. But look at it. If we call, let's say, okay, yes. So let's use this one. So the shortcut for commenting is Control, then /. To add a comment or to remove a comment, Control, then /. You understand? So let's give this another color because we don't want the same color we don't want everything to look similar, so we can give this color of green. So this green is going to apply to all h4s except ordered list. Can you see? So obviously this is h4. For you to be color green, you are h4. For you to be color green, you are h4. But this is also an h4 element. Why is it not taking the color of green? It is because we're giving it a class. A class supersedes what's it called? An element name or selector name. Do you understand? Now look at this selector. Look at this selector specificity. Now 001. But when we use a class is 010. So it is basically saying 0 or 001 is less than 010. Do you understand? 10 is greater than 1, obviously. And when we use IDs are 100. That's 100. So when you are trying to like style your CSS, you need to know that some what's it called, some key names or some classes, some IDs are more superior to classes, while classes are more superior to HTML elements. Do you understand? Okay, let's say for instance there's no ID named for that list though. Now if you come here, if you hover on it, you are supposed to, can you see selector specificity? It is 100. So element ID are very how do I put it? They have special treatment. They are senior to classes. So you have, in order of hierarchy, you have IDs. That's for CSS. You have IDs. You have classes, and you have your normal HTML elements. Do you understand? So This is just like the basics. Do you understand? This is just the basics. This is how to style your HTML file using CSS. Let's say for instance, I want this my red file to be all caps. What I could do is text. Sorry, text. What's it called again? No, not text decoration. I think it is text transform. Yes. So I could say, okay, I want all my text to be uppercase, and when I say it, everything here turns up uppercase. Can you guys see? Our other list of things to buy at the store is all uppercase. So I could say, okay, give me lowercase. I don't want to use uppercase, and say it gives me lowercase. Do you understand? So this sometimes these things help us in our code, because rather than going back to your HTML file to look for the file name, then start changing it to capital letter and stuff like that. Within your CSS, you can just look at it and say, oh, I forgot to make this one capital letter. Let me just do this uppercase, all of them uppercase, simple. Let everybody rest, and everything turns uppercase. Do you understand? Now, let's give it title case. I think so. Capitalize, yes. So capitalize gives every first letter a capital letter. So another feature that we are going to use more often in our CSS is text align. What text align does, because we are starting with text first, so what text align does is it aligns your text in any way or in any form or in any shape you want. So most times you will need to align your text in the center, and you click center, contrast. You see, other list has moved to the center. You can say text align justify. What this does is gives you a spreaded text. If you have a text, let's say for instance, okay, so let's just create a text. Let's say a p tag. No, yes, p tag. Lorem 200. Lorem 20. And let's give it an ID of let's say long text. And go to our CSS. I think there should be an extension for autosave. Let's see. I think there should be an extension for autosave. So this should like help us save our files automatically, instead of us just pressing Ctrl S, Ctrl S, Ctrl S every time. Yes, it is nice to press Ctrl S every time, but there might be times you might forget to Ctrl S your code. Do you understand? So most of these things are features that we are going to make use of. Christian P, okay, yeah. For use it, you go to up and use this command. Alright. So yeah. Sorry about that. Save the file whenever they have no errors. No. I want you to save automatically. So what is the name of our, so we give it an ID. And how do you select an ID? Use hash. ID long text. I think that was the name gave it, yeah? Let's check to confirm. Okay, long text. So yeah, long text, and we'll do the same thing. Text visits. Okay, yeah, this is our code here. Now look at this gap between here and here. This gap between this gap between volume particles and whatever. So we can say text align justify. Can you see? Oh, I think our autosave is working now. Can you see? It justifies the text, like it fills it up. There are sometimes when you write the code and you see, for instance, that the code is not coding. It's not looking nice. Let's say, for instance, you have a specific box or shape that you want the old text to take, but because it is not justified, everything just looks, this one is short, this one is long, this one is short, this one. So you can just justify your text by just using text align justify. Even when you use text align justify and you want it to be center, you could do text align again, center. It is now justified in the center. Can you see? So these are just some of the major text this thing you need. What other text settings do you need? Okay, I think text decoration. Yes, text decoration too is useful. So you could say maybe you give it a dashed line, and what this does is gives your line dash, or let's say dotted. Okay, for instance, look at this line of code here. Click here to watch. Where is it? Click here to. So let's say, for instance, these 8 tags. We want to remove all this underlining under. Keep in mind there are 8 tags. So we'll go to our index.css and just say a tag. That's for all the 8 tags on this file. Text decoration. We don't want any. That's none. And can you see all the other underlines are gone? Do you understand? And let's say we want to make text size bigger, we can say font size bold, or we could do border, or we can give it a size. You can say 300 pixels, 200 pixels, and if you check it, it's bigger than, oh, let's just give it 20 then. 20. Do you understand? So most of these things are like simple operations you can perform using your CSS for text. What other text operation can we perform? What other text operation can we perform? What other text operation?
wàá sọ fún mi bóyá o sọnù ní táláàánú ẹ̀ tó ń wá ẹ kiri nínú wàá bẹ̀ kó máa pariwo pé káláàánú ẹ̀ kó wá ẹ rí wàá sọ fún mi bóyá o sọnù ní táláàánú ẹ̀ tó ń wá ẹ kiri nínú wa táláàánú ẹ̀ ta ló yẹ kó wára ní àánú mi ṣe ẹ ìwọ tó fẹ́ ṣàánú ẹ ṣó ló fẹ́ máa wá ẹ kiri ìwọ kọ́ ló yẹ kó wá láàánú ẹ lọ 2024 ó ti di tán báyìí wàá bẹ̀ aláàánú mi kó wá mi rí aláàánú kó wá mi rí àánú mi ṣe máa wá láàánú ẹ lọ wàá try wàá tún wá láàánú ẹ lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan kó gbà kọ́ ló máa sọ pé ká láàánú ẹ kó wá ẹ rí rárá o no wàá wá láàánú ẹ lọ
Okay, so yeah. So these are some of the major or some of the text um text features you're going to make use of more often. So let's go into background colors. Let's say, for instance, we want to give this long text a background color of black. Background color. Now we can't even see the main text, and that's where you can use color. Color just colors text. So when you use color, keep in mind when you use color, color is for text. So let's say, for instance, you have a box and the box is color brown, or you want to like style the box and use color. Color will not work. Color works for only text. Do you understand? So let's say we're giving the text white. Can you see? We have our text. What else? I would have loved to teach on padding and margin. Okay, so let's quickly talk about padding and margin. So what I'm talking about is padding and margin. So you know when you let's say, for instance, this is a box, or no, this is a ball. Now the ball is in an enclosed space and it is touching everywhere. The ball is touching all the walls, all the edges and stuff. Now we want to space them out. When we use padding, padding is for inside. Let's say this is the box. When we give padding to a particular, this is padding sharp. So when you give padding to a particular what's it called? To a particular property in CSS, when you give padding, it gives a space inside. So let's say this is a circle, and what I'm putting inside this circle is type. Do you understand? Can you guys see this? Padding increases the shape of the circle from within. Do you understand? It increases. Okay, let's use this what's it called, long text, for example. Let's say padding of 10 pixels, padding of 10 pixels. Can you see? Look at the difference before. This is before, this is after. It gives us a space within, inside, how would I put it, inside the element. So it spaces the content and the edge of the content. Do you understand? Now look at this what's it called, container, for example. Look at this container, for example. This, can you guys see this? Can you guys see this? If I am to fit this phone inside this container, you know it's going to be a lot tighter inside. Like it's going to be very tight. So in order for this container to accommodate my phone, I use padding to expand the container from within. Do you understand? I expand the container from within. Now, by expanding the container from within, it takes in the size of the phone. Do you understand? It takes in the size of the phone. That's me expanding the container from within. Now, let's talk about margins. I hope you guys understand what padding means now. So let's talk about margin. Margin is the space outside the container. So just like this, just like I used this, the space outside this container, if this container was like somewhere like this, can you see? There's no space like outside the container is like suffocating. But with margin, when I use margin, I can increase the space of the content, the space outside the container. Do you understand? To give it some form of beauty. Do you understand? I hope we're understanding. Now, padding is inside. I want to space what is inside. Margin is I want to space what is outside. Do you understand? So let's use margin on long text, for example. Margin, we have 10 pixels. Can you see? Look at where this is starting from. And look at where this is starting from. Let me see if I can draw a line. Look at it. This is the work of margin. Why this is the work of padding? Padding is within content, is within the container, while margin is without, that's outside the container. I hope you understand. So now, let's say for instance, you want to do, I want to add padding to the top. So you can say margin, yes, padding top. There's padding top. There's padding bottom. There's padding right. And there's padding left. And there is padding left. Same thing applies to margin. There's margin top. Margin bottom. There's margin right. There's margin left. Can you see? Now look at this. Look at this margin 10 pixel. What this margin 10 pixel is saying is for both margin top, margin bottom, margin right, margin left, give it 10 pixel. Now what it's saying is same thing as this 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel. Now these four codes, like these 4 lines of code, is the same thing as this single line of code. Do you guys understand? These 4 lines of code, this margin, this 4, is same thing as this single line of code. So what this single line of code does is applies margin on all sides. Now if you want to specify, there's a way you can specify using this margin. Rather than making your code a little bit longer, you can do something like margin 10 pixel. The first one is top and bottom. Then the second one is right and left. don't know. Let me check if I'm correct. Sorry, let me just take this off. Yeah. So the first 10 pixel is top and bottom, while the 30 pixel is left and right. Can you see? If I change it to 50, it gets smaller. If I change it to 80, it gets smaller. That's right and left. Mind you, right and left. If I want to do for top and bottom, I can change this to 20. Look at it. The spacing between the top and the bottom outside is more. So if you want to do this top, bottom, right, left, this is just the simple way to do it. Unless you have something specific you are trying to like design. Let's say you want this exact thing to be one side longer than one, then you can now come to like using margin left, margin right, bottom, margin top. Same thing applies to padding as well. So the same thing we did for padding, let's do it for padding as well. So for instance, if we give, let me comment this out. So if you give this 10 pixel top, guys, look at this, look at the changes as they reflect here. Top 10 pixel, bottom 10 pixel, right 10 pixel, and left 10 pixel. And you guys see, now all this line of code, these 4 lines of code, is the same thing as just writing 10 pixels. Simple. Like, it's going to save you a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of hard work, a whole lot of thinking. Because now you have to start thinking, is it padding right, is it padding left? Just put padding 10 pixel. Automatically the computer knows to distribute 10 pixel on each side when you use the padding feature. So the same thing applies, you get, when you do this. So now 80 pixel for padding, right and left, 20 pixel in padding is top and bottom. So guys, I think this is where we draw the curtain for the night, because we have other things to talk about. So in subsequent videos, we'll be posting more about CSS and some of the things, beautiful things we can do with CSS. But for now, ciao. And always practice, keep practicing, always practice, always practice. We can't emphasize this enough. Always practice. Just play around, just read documentation, just go on w3schools.com, just go there, search for CSS, and you will see a whole lot more. So in our next class, we'll be talking about layout and alignment in CSS, grids and layout and alignment in CSS. For now, ciao. See you guys when next we see. Bye guys.